Hold the Line with Mike Solon is brought to you by the Seattle Police Officers Guild, Seattle's public safety voice, and by Heart to Heart Medical Supply. Heart to Heart is an American company offering FDA-registered respirator masks at the lowest prices. Heart to Heart offers free same-day shipping, and by using the promo code DELTA at checkout, you can receive 5% off your entire order. Visit hearttoheart.com. That's HART, the number 2, HART.com. Heart to Heart, where great masks are just a click away.
Kshama Sawant has consistently sought to exploit and politicize the painful circumstances of our communities for her own personal gain.
The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther. This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish. Gotta fight. Hold the line!
Hey, welcome back to Hold the Line with Mike Solon. This coming Tuesday, December 7th, a big day in Seattle. The Recall Sawant campaign needs your help. Get your ballots in because Councilmember Sawant from District 3 is on the ropes. And we need to make sure that she is indeed recalled for the future of Seattle. Folks, I can't tell you how big this is if we can remove Sawant, I tell you there's no stopping Seattle moving forward because, as I've been saying for a long time, Seattle is worth saving. So if you're watching this in time before December 7th, please get involved if you're in District 3. And even if you're not, you know people in District 3, call them up, text them, visit them, get their ballots in because this is a critical special election to get her gone. Recall effort. So if you need more information, links in the description, sawantrecall.org. That is sawantrecall.org. And we're going to break down why Sawant is being recalled. As we know, she's completely unreasonable, but I'll break it down briefly for you. So number one, a judge, the summary of it in terms of the recall effort is sufficient enough, and here is the order from the judge. Number one, misuse of City of Seattle Council office resources to promote a ballot initiative or other electioneering. This was done from January to February of 2020. So the court found that the facts showed Sawant spent $2,000 and, quote, assisted in other ways, unquote, to promote a ballot measure to tax big businesses like Amazon. She was also forced to repay over $3,500 back to the city. And Sawant called that basically decision a minor infraction. So if you're an elected official, you know the rules. You can't do that. And so this judge cites that as finding sufficient grounds as part of this recall effort. And I'll move on. Number two, misuse of Councilmember Sawant's official position in admitting hundreds of individuals illegally into City Hall after hours on June 9th, 2020. This is during the Battle of the East Precinct, during the riots. And she used her access badge to get people into City Hall. And it was roughly about 600 people. And that's pretty significant violation. So the court cited the governor's COVID orders and found that Sawant, quote, knowingly allowed in hundreds of people into City Hall despite the governor's proclamation, unquote. And this is from retweets made by Sawant and related news articles. You can find it. We'll put a link in the description. The court refused to find the incident at City Hall was, quote, a political demonstration, unquote, and cited the Supreme Court's recent order in the recall of the Snohomish County Sheriff as their reference point. So basically, City Hall was locked to the public precisely because of the pandemic, and she decides to use her bully tactics and her activist mob, her followers, to go into City Hall to then start bullying the, I think, unreasonable activism that they and that she does act on almost all the time. Number three, using her official position as city council member to lead a protest march to Mayor Jenny Durkin's private residence. Mind you, that private residence location was protected in terms of the state's confidentiality program. And this was done on July 3rd of 2020. Can you imagine just at your own house? This shouldn't happen to an elected official. Not at all. It shouldn't happen to anybody in this country. That's mob mentality. And Sawant used her official position along with her mob of supporters, many of whom were in that 600-person, I think, protest inside City Hall, and they marched on Mayor Durkin's home. Incredible. Violation of the address confidentiality program constitutes the Class C felony of harassment, and, quote, these facts show actual knowledge of facts indicating that Councilmember Sawant intended to commit an unlawful act and form a basis of knowledge of the allegations, unquote. So they're using her behavior, marching on the mayor's home, as evidence to support the recall effort. Incredible. This is an elected official using mob tactics to march on another elected official's home to bully decisions. I think that alone is evidence enough to recall her. Bottom line is these people and her followers knew the mayor's address, knew it was confidential, completely violated it willingly, and led them right to the mayor's home. So from then on, we've had 24/7 around the clock Seattle police protection of that address. Taxpayer dollars going to Sawant's complete violation of ethics and law. And then one thing I think this recall effort hasn't shown that I'm going to add to this is her complete maligning and besmirching of the fine police officers that protect the citizens, protect people, not only citywide and in District 3. Remember that she called 2 Seattle police officers murderers, to the point where those officers, good for them, have filed civil suit against Kshama Sawant. And as we just saw in recent reports, we'll put the link in the description, that suit can go forward, and she's looking at paying out some significant money. And will the city continue to pay for her defense on that? Remains to be seen. I would like people that have an opinion on it to weigh in whether or not that's reasonable or not for the city to take up that defense fund and pay for her defense. So folks, this is a critical moment in our history in Seattle to remove somebody who's completely unreasonable, doesn't reflect Seattle's values. And if she retains office and beats this, she will double, triple down. And you can find some of our videos we've tagged on Kshama Sawant during a StopDefunding.com campaign, where we used her rhetoric to really highlight how unreasonable she is. And we'll put the link in the description as well. So please do your city a favor, District 3 voters. Get that ballot in. Remember, recallsawant.org is the website to go to, and your ballot must be counted. And I will just remind you of one last piece of this and how other community leaders, such as a statement that is now on that website of recallsawant.org, is from the Jewish, Black, and Asian communities, and I'll be brief when I read this. Religious and community leaders from across Seattle today joined together in support of the Recall Sawant campaign, issuing the following statement. Today, we want to make something emphatically clear. Councilmember Kshama Sawant does not speak for us nor our communities. Only we can do that, and only we should do that. In making this statement, we encourage District 3 voters to support the recall of Councilmember Kshama Sawant. We have not come to this recommendation lightly. We practice and teach acceptance and forgiveness. But District 3 voters ought to be aware of Sawant's long history of attacking our communities and hijacking our efforts. Sawant regularly trades in rhetoric that gives rise to anti-Semitism, resulting in violence and hatred directed at the Jewish community. She has also stoked chaos in the Black community and sought to hijack the efforts of the Black Lives Matter organizers to promote her own political agenda. These behaviors have been well documented by news coverage and amount to a record that we simply cannot condone or support. Kshama Sawant has consistently sought to exploit and politicize the painful circumstances of our communities for her own personal gain. These craven behaviors, that's actually a pretty good word use, do nothing more than to further divide us as people and contribute to the incitement and spreading of hate. Really strong statement there. I'll go further in this. The Seattle Asian community has repeatedly attempted to bring concerns to Councilmember Sawant regarding the loss of vibrancy in the International District resulting from the city's lax attitude toward crime in the district. That's absolutely very correct. Sawant refuses to advocate for the Asian community because she falsely equates crime with poverty and exploits our problems for political gain. Small businesses are still recovering from damage sustained during riots, where so many businesses experienced violent property damage and looting, much of which she encouraged. Sawant appropriates the cultural identity of the Asian community for political gain and gamemanship, but she turns her back on the community's needs. This is why we support the recall of Kshama Sawant. And I'm almost done here. Our community support the recall of Kshama Sawant because she admitted to guilt in using city resources to support a ballot initiative and failed to comply with public disclosure requirement related to this support. She disobeyed state orders related to COVID-19 by admitting hundreds of people into City Hall on June 9th of 2020 when it was closed to the public, endangering public workers, and she led a protest to Mayor Jenny Durkin's private home, which I've already talked to. Obviously, the location which Sawant knows is protected under the state confidentiality laws. As the Seattle Times recently said in their endorsement of the recall, voters should hold Sawant accountable for transgressions against civil governance and remove her from office, unquote. These are not characteristics of those who should be trusted to lead our people, and why we cannot support Sawant remaining in office. So there you have it. Very, very strong testimony in terms of community leaders coming together and voicing their urge for Kshama Sawant to be recalled. And we'll put the Seattle Times opinion piece in there as well. So folks, get involved. Our city's future is on the line, and it's quite clear. If we can remove Kshama Sawant in District 3, our journey to save Seattle will be that much brighter, because everybody should know that Seattle is worth saving. And if you do so, that's a strong, strong statement to not only that statement, if you will, using a double word, but continuing for all of us holding the line. Take care.